If you have yet to see my previous video regarding the dangers of labeling, please go ahead and watch that before this one, as I will be building upon the points I made previously. In this video, I will be going over a method with which you can help clarify to yourself, by use of language, any abstract or rationalistic conceptions of the universe, science, philosophy, etc. This method is based on a simple fact, that for any given concept, there are a finite number of ways to describe it. That is, if you keep repeating the same concept with different wording, different sentence structure, different approaches, you will eventually run these variants dry. For any given concept, there are only so many ways to say the same thing before you begin to describe something else. Therefore, the method is to state your concept from start to finish, and then do so in consecutive repetition until you've exhausted both your vocabulary and variable methods of description. Do you see? I'm already doing it. By now, the method I am explaining has begun to clarify. The mud in the water is dissipating with each iteration. Every non-repetitive statement, which aims towards a likened goal, which is to further clarify this method. In reality, the number of ways to repeat a given statement, at least in English, and I'm sure for most other languages, is a variable infinity. However, as each person's knowledge of the language is limited, your vocabulary is limited, your ability to conjure metaphors, etc., you will run these variable iterations dry at some point. And just as I have been doing so far, repeating a given concept to yourself in a variety of ways will further clarify it to yourself. However, a lurking danger exists within, and that is that the more concrete your understanding of something, the more well-defined it is, by and large, the less you will be able to understand or perceive differences which may exist in reality from the concept you've so steelly defined. In other words, if you define the thing too perfectly, with too great of solidity, and the reality of it differs from the actual words used to define it, your conception will be, in a certain sense, blinding. If you watched my previous video on the dangers of labeling, this idea will be clearer to you. Well, it seems there's a sort of impasse here. On one side of the coin, a solid understanding of a given concept is necessary in order to properly apply it to different situations. Using the method I tirelessly repeated above, you can further your understanding of it, or at least reveal to yourself just how much you really do understand it. On the other side of the coin, too great an understanding can blind you to differences which exist in reality, variables and attributes not represented by the words, but which are, in fact, the case of the matter. Such is the limiting barrier erected by the use of language. To a functional degree, we can describe reality in an abstract way to ourselves and others. However, when the concept does not perfectly represent the true underlying reality, the ultimate facts, we are blinding ourselves to these by the simple use of verbal representations. Not to digress too far into a point I've already covered, I wanted to highlight it as in potential contrast with the one I make now. Why do I say potential contrast? Well, sometimes our verbal descriptions of the actions and mechanics of the universe are accurate enough that a full understanding of such a concept is not blinding or misleading in any functional way. Sometimes the conception is accurate enough to suit our utility for it, such that a further description is not necessary for the purposes we have in applying it. Now that we've covered that, the main point I intend to convey is that this method of variable repetition is not necessarily to gain a better understanding of the actual concept. Rather, it is to illuminate to ourselves just how well we truly understand it. That is, this method allows you to realize exactly how much you really know about something, about anything. If you can only describe it in one way, and that verbalization is essentially a repetition of a memory in which someone else is saying the same thing, or exactly as you read it in a book, then I would argue that you do not have a very good understanding of it, though you may fool yourself into thinking you understand it because you can iterate this one description from memory. To truly understand a concept, you have to be able to apply it to a variety of potentially real situations. I want to repeat that in order to instill its significance. To fully understand any given concept, you must be able to apply the concept to more than one or perhaps two different circumstances as far as the concept permits. This is where the aforementioned method comes in. By repeating in a variety of ways the same intended meaning, you will further realize the extent of your own knowledge on the subject. The author behind these videos does this regularly in the form of talking to myself aloud. This works as a form of problem solving and self-illumination. Not to excessively drag this point out, I'll be ending the video here as I believe I've stated this as clearly as I can without too much repetition. Please feel free to comment below if anything was unclear or just for further discussion. Thank you for watching.